Welcome, Ms Legalista here. I don't even know where to start with this. I feel a lot of kind of ways about this, but we're going to talk about this whole incident where the attorney snatched the wig off of this woman's head. We're going to look at the video. We are going to take a look at the statement that the firm that he worked for released and some of the comments. Yeah. I want to first bring up this TikTok video so that we all know what we're talking about. If you have not had a chance to see this yet, you may want to take some time to look at it on your own. It was very disturbing to me listening to her because I felt for her. Can you imagine just like living your life, walking down the street, and then this person comes along and decides that they need to touch you, that your body is just there for this person to just do whatever. I'm still trying to wrap my arms around this one. It's hard. There are times when attorneys behave badly just like everybody else. Some of you probably kept up with what went on with Alex Murdaugh. That was just a whole story right there of every way you could possibly go wrong, not just as an attorney, but as a person. So here we have another attorney behaving badly. And part of the reason I'm talking about this is because I talk about other people, other business people who have done some fraudulent activities, engaged in some things like that, gone to jail, trying to help you stay clear of scams and that sort of thing, because you don't want to make your money and then lose it to some scam. So I do talk about those quite a bit. On occasions, I have talked about other things that I just felt like I wanted to talk about. So here we have this attorney who's supposed to be, an officer of the court, an arm of the court, part of the legal process, and this person is behaving badly. But I'm not going to keep talking about it. Let me click on this video so that you can see some of this for yourself. And just to let you know, there is some profanity in this. I'm going to try to cut some of that out, but I want you to be able to hear it because it's important for you to watch it in order to be able to understand some of the comments that we're going to see when we go to the LinkedIn page for the firm and to look at the statement that the
Sir, for what reason? For what reason did you take my wig off? Because what made you think that was the good thing to
do? let me stop right there, because she starts with this question where she is asking him, why would you even do this? And it's a question I think is a very basic question for him, though. And you see he continues to walk away. She's asking this question, he continues to walk away, totally ignoring her, ignoring what he just did. And she's saying, why would you do this? One of the things that I took a look at, and let me go over to this other page for a second, because as I was looking for this video, I went to another page and put in wig snatched. And this is essentially what came up. And you'll see here a whole bunch of TikToks on people snatching off people's wigs. You'll see a lot of pranks. And then when you scroll down, you'll see something, especially this one right here, where it says, let me see if I can scroll. I'm not sure why this is not scrolling. I'm obviously having some issues here. Let me get rid of that. Let me scroll down to this one where it says 16-year-old girl with cancer got her wig snatched. I don't know why people think this is a thing to do. And I think we've become so accustomed to seeing pranks and seeing people do things with other people. People just feel like they have the power to do whatever to other people. And they don't. They don't. But yeah, there are all of these clips up here of people, women. Let me just stop. Usually women getting their wigs snatched off. Here's one about someone getting one snatched off in Walmart. Now, I don't know if this one is a prank or not, but it's just not the thing to do. So we have people now who think that living in this society you can pull pranks on other people without any consequences. That's the first thing to think about. Okay, that's the first thing to think about. But let me go back over here to the actual video because I want us to continue watching that.
What made you think that that was the good thing to do? Please. For what? For what? Why did you do that? What makes you think that that's okay?
I would basically say what made him think that it was okay was because he thought it was okay. He, is living in a world where in his head, okay, partly in his head and then partly in reality too, this world where Black women especially and women in general, their bodies are just not of the same value as some men. And there are people out here who are sharing that as information. And it's a hard thing to listen to sometimes because I actually watch, and for some people, I get it. Okay, I get where some of these people are coming from because for them, it's about controversy. It's about getting the eyeballs. It's about, putting something out there in order to increase conversation about something. That's where they're going. Let's just be real that for them, it's about money and influence and eyeballs and those sorts of things. But there is a harm that comes with that from a bigger sense if you have people who are watching you say these things and can't really distinguish the fact that what you're doing is not necessarily advocating that they go out there and actually treat women that way. Most of the people who are making some of these comments about women having lesser value and bringing nothing to the table, that's not what they really think, okay? A lot of these people have moms that they treat very well, wives that they treat very well, daughters that they treat very well. Yet you have people who are watching some of this and they don't understand that there's a nuance there, that there's something else going there. And in this world where women still get paid less than men, I could go down a long list of things, but let's just talk about the historical aspect of women being property. Some of this, doesn't go that far back. People go, well, hey, that was way back in the day. You only have to go back one generation from me to understand that when my mom was younger, she wouldn't have been able to go to just walk into a bank and get a credit card in her own name. Women couldn't do that. Women couldn't just go open bank accounts on their own without a husband. You had hoops you had to jump through. So let's not forget that we're only a couple of generations from that for some women. There are plenty of women who are still living who can tell you their stories about this. So it's not like women haven't had to work hard to get achievements so that they could just be treated as equals, just have access to the same sorts of things. Now, I know I'm getting way far from hair because, like I said when I started, this rubbed me way wrong in so many different ways. But the fact that you think that it is okay for you to just put your hands on another woman says a lot about, number one, you must not think that there's any consequence to your action, that you can just go touch a woman. Well, we did recently have someone in office who let that be known that that's sort of what he felt. You could do whatever you wanted to him, just grab him and keep going and nothing's going to happen. We've now seen that there are some consequences to that. So for this gentleman, let me pull back up the rest of the video because I'm doing most of the talking here because I'm trying to get some things off my chest about how I feel. So I may want to name this, attorney reacts to attorney getting fired for snatching the wig, because I'm just really, my reaction to this is just, I don't know. I am definitely feeling some sort of way about this. I cannot imagine.
Is that funny?
It's not funny.
Is that funny?
Apologize.
You did you take my wig off and keep walking?
There's no reason.
For what, sir? Why?
You just want to leave.
Why?
Just say it.
Why did you take my wig off and just walk away?
And you have the friend who's there who sounds like he's trying to tell him to apologize. That's what it sounds like. You can't hear all of what he's saying, but you hear him sort of saying, just say it, just say it. You know?
Please.
Because what? Why?
Please.
Nah, have a nice one. Have a nice day. You're nice.
So there you go. That, that's a lot there to think about. Let me pop back over here so I can. That's a lot for anybody watching that. That is a lot. Oh my gosh, that is so much. That is just so hard to watch. That is hard to watch. To know that you're just living your life, just walking. Just imagine you're just walking down the street doing whatever it is you're doing, and some guy just comes along and is doing this to you. What in the world? Well, let's go to see what the law firm said, because you know how TikTok is. People wasted no time in tracking him down and letting his employer know exactly how they felt about it. So let me see if I can pull this up so you can see this. On LinkedIn, they posted something, and let's see if I can read this. I have to get in close here. It says, we have been made aware of a video of a non-work related incident involving one of our associates circulating on social media. We take seriously any inappropriate behavior by an employee, whether inside or outside the workplace. This associate is no longer with the firm. Okay, so there are some comments up here, and I want to sort of go through some of them. There was one that stuck out, and I wanted to talk about, I guess, just point out some things relating to employment law for a second. So this first person says, there is absolutely no evidence he did this act. You are supposed to stand for the process of innocent until proven guilty. I can't even adhere to this standard with one of your own. I question your ability in practice. So let's talk about, there are a lot of comments to this. There's video surveillance of this assault and will be coming out soon. There is now legal action being taken against the assailant so far. So for now, evidence clearly must be protected. You're insane. We will see. Maybe the firm has more evidence than us, but everyone in this thread are harassing based on the word of one person. I'm not sure how that's harassment if you're just having a difference of opinion. We have somehow gotten to the point where we are not clear on understanding what harassment is. Somebody can have a different opinion than the opinion that I have. I can share my opinion. They can share their opinion. I can comment again about my opinion. They can comment again about their opinion. That does not necessarily mean it's harassment. People may want to go back and take a look at their state statutes to get an understanding of what harassment actually looks like. It is not having a difference of opinion. This person says, one person and his friends, as it happens, bruh, put your glasses on the counter. They're clearly tinting your vision. Did you see him deny it? Why did his friends advise him to apologize if he did nothing wrong? Let's see. There's a whole video, and it's interesting, this thing about the video. So no, we don't actually see him pulling it off in the video. What we see in the video is her asking him, why did you do this? Why did you pull my wig off? Why? For what reason? Why would you do this? Why are you laughing? And we get no response from him on that. So there is a video. We see some dialogue there. We don't see anything where he is denying it. I haven't seen any statements come out where he's denying it. And, in a court of law, yes, there has to be some evidence But in the court of public opinion, I think he's already lost this. All right. This person, then he says, the firm has more evidence than us, which is why they fired him. Let's see. The law firm doesn't need to prove anything to you. Employment is at will in New York in the first place. Also, you have no idea what conversations were had internally and how HR might have been involved. Exactly. So this is where I wanted to go with this piece about getting upset about him being fired. Most people don't have employment contracts. Most work is at will, meaning, you can give a professional notice of 2 weeks and you can say, hey, I'm done with you, employer. I'm going to work over here because they, I don't know, pay better and have better benefits and they treat me nicer. Or the employer can say, you know what, we've decided we're cutting your position, or we've just decided it's not working out, and they can let you go. Now, they can let you go as long as there's no illegal reason behind that. So, for instance, they aren't letting you go because of illegal discrimination or something like that. But in most cases, it's at will, so they can show you the door. They don't even have to sit there and explain to you what the reason is. Now, typically, they're going to go through their own process for terminating an employment relationship. I doubt very seriously that they just say, oh, just get rid of him, get rid of him. They probably looked at the video. They probably reached out to him to have a conversation with him about what happened and wanted to get his side of the story before terminating him. They may have done that. Most companies have a termination process in place already. They usually have an appeals process, and this is usually in the public sector. You usually have a few more rights. But in the private sector, when they're done, they're generally done. And if you think the termination was wrong, well, then take them to court. And he has the right to do that. But come on, they can fire him, yeah. It says, his own friends were begging him to apologize. They saw it and the victim felt it. They don't have to adhere to the burden of evidence. He likely confessed to HR, and his buddies likely worked for the same firm. Well, there's a lot of, we don't really know here. This is actually really sad. And I agree with this person. This is actually really sad. Imagine spending years in college to end your career overnight. One small mistake can ruin an entire life. I'm mad at him, but I also feel sorry for him. And I see someone else saying, you feel sorry for someone who assaulted and battered another person. Firing is the least of his worries. He needs to be in jail. I don't think this person is disagreeing with the fact that she was assaulted. I think what this person is saying, why are we living in a world where a person did this, ruined his career in this one instance, that we have people who would even think that it's okay to do this? And this is any case. This is any situation where a person has worked hard to get in their career. People make mistakes all the time, and it will likely be a while before another firm would look at hiring him. They're going to question, what else he might do, public backlash from hiring him. If they were to hire him, it would probably not be posted on the website that he works for them. It might be a smaller firm who's willing to provide him some contract work or something like that, but it's going to be really difficult for him. And I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with having empathy for someone who did wrong. You can still be on the side of the person who got hurt and have empathy for the situation. If we all walked around with just hate in our hearts all the time, I don't know. My blood pressure would just be too high for that. I just don't know that I would last very long. Frankly, now let's talk about this one. Frankly, it's not enough to fire the attacker. His action calls into question the ethics of the firm he represented, any cases he's worked on involving people of color, and frankly, is he even fit to serve as an officer of the court? If he would attack a woman of color while with his friends, how many people of color cases has he sabotaged and or failed in his duties to zealously represent his clients? I think this is something that we don't talk about as much. This, what am I bringing to the table? If I'm out here in the street, in public, just doing this to a black woman who's walking by, what am I doing or not doing to clients of color that I may have? How hard am I willing to work for them? Have I actually done justice for them when they have hired me? And so I do think that the firm is probably going to have to go back and take a look at maybe some of the cases that he handled, some of the work that he did, to make sure that they're covered on this. And they're probably going to have to reach back out to those clients to make sure that those clients felt like they actually got the representation that they paid for. I think this is sort of a really good question here that this person's bringing up. And it's not, and this person says, you're bringing up a racial motive without basis. No, he's just saying, that's not what he's saying. He's just saying, go back and take a look, because if you're just walking down the street and you pick a black woman and you're just going to take and pull her wig off, it does make you question the ethics that he has behind closed doors. I don't think that that this person's jumping out there too far by saying, hey, maybe we need to go back and take a look at some of his other actions. Now, and I can think back to another case where people did something to someone else as part of the judicial process. And they said, you know what, we're actually now going to have to go back and take a look at prior cases. And so this is not anything that's new. I hear this person is talking about bringing up a racial motive, but this is something that's frequently done, is to go back and make sure that there weren't any other issues. It's just checking the box, just making sure that everything's okay. Yeah, what gave him the idea that this was funny? I think that was, that's traumatic. This is just traumatic. And maybe as a black woman, I have more feelings about it. Maybe as a woman, I have more feelings about it. It's just, yeah, this is a bigger problem than just your firm. Yeah, there's a link to the complaint with the New York bar. Imagine losing your job on your day off. To me, it's the entitlement of thinking it's okay to do something like this and then just walk away from it with a smile and not say one word. That's what's really wild here. Yeah, the grin. He should also apologize. His behavior was very disturbing. Yeah, so then, yeah, I don't know. This is just awful. That this happened is what I'm saying. I still have a hard time with the fact that he even did this to her. And you see lots of comments there. People are thankful that the firm took action. But let me say this about firings. So the question becomes, does he do this again? I don't think so. The question becomes, does he think harder, about how he represents people and what kind of person he wants to be? Maybe. Is there another level of learning here, though? Here's the part that always concerns me, is that where then is the next step for him? Like, where's the organization that steps up and says, hey, we saw what you just went through, what you just did, and yes, there should be some consequence involved in that. But yes, we also feel like now you need to sort of go through a learning process to understand how this really impacted the other person. And granted, there may be some of that that happens as a part of the judicial process if she files a lawsuit. Yeah. But when does he get to really truly understand what he did to her and the sort of personal harm that causes? Where is the bigger conversation with him about that? How does he grow as a person? I feel like it's not enough for him to just get sued and there be some sort of judgment, and even for his license to be suspended for a while. It almost feels like there needs to be some re-education here about how you treat black women, how you visualize black women, how you understand humanity in another person, that you just don't go around doing this sort of thing. Like, where does that take place? And again, this is me doing a lot of talking about something that totally bothered me. So you guys will be like, she went on and on in this video because she was so bothered by that woman getting that wig taken off. You are absolutely right. And I was going to put another word in there, but you know I'm trying to be good because it's a YouTube and they only want me saying certain words. But no, this is just not good. This is not good. We want to be better people. And so I don't know how you do this to a woman and then you got to call up your mom and explain this. You know, one day maybe you get married. Do you have a girlfriend? How does she feel about this? Do you have sisters? How do they feel about this? About you doing this? You know? That's a lot. You guys can let me know in your comments. You can watch the video. I'll put the link in there. And it looks like Lizzie Ashley shared some other videos, so you guys can go check those out too. And she is doing what she needs to do. She's taking the next steps that she needs to take. And hopefully at some point in time she can put this behind her. But can you imagine now, every time you walk down the street, you're just sort of like, you're that person who's now going to be worried every time you walk down the street. Like, that's very traumatic. I cannot imagine. All right, you guys. Yeah, so that's enough for me vibing about this, because that's a lot. So don't forget to give the video thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and peace.